Happy Monday, everyone. We are back and we were talking about kind of your trip today. We want to touch base on that a little bit. I know we talked about it before, but you've actually been on it now and you're home.
I have, yes.
And hopefully you've had, I'm just kind of filling the audience in. I've been with you since you got home, so I know what you've had, but you've had a little bit of time, not much, but to sort of process. So
Yeah, a little bit.
For people that don't know, you were invited to train with Evo in Australia. So
yes.
How did that come about?
I got a call. No, I've been with Evo now, I think like 2.5 years training. And last year I got invited to their creative training, and all of 2023 just really busting out lots of classes, teaching lots of content, getting good reviews, getting good feedback, and stepping up my game, teaching some ticketed classes, which is just a little bit different than going into a salon and just teaching to a staff. I had some classes where people had to, pay to come, not the distributor sending me. And those all went really well too. Again, great feedback. So when it came time around for their regional training this year, I got an invite. And there was 4 of us they were inviting. Things are getting busier. The company is looking to grow and expand, which means they need more educators at the higher level. So I got the phone call asking if it's something I'd be interested in, with lots of great feedback that they've been getting, that they would like to have me at their headquarters, which was in January in Adelaide, South Australia. And I went.
Great. And talk about a little bit of what your thought process was when you first got that call, because you were leaning in a different direction, I think.
Yeah, I was speechless. And to be honest, my first, wrap my head around was the dates, because we have a family. We have 3 kids. Our daughter had a play coming up. Our son has his birthday coming up. So sort of where was the family vibe, or how was the family going to get kind of shifted? And then my next thing was I'd never been out of our business for 2 weeks, and I wasn't really sure if that was going to be possible. We have a lot of systems in place, but I don't know. I just didn't know if the timing was right for that. And those family, business are my top priorities in that order. And teaching and educating is just lower on the list. It's something I do for fun. It's something that I enjoy doing. It's something I do really just to be inspired.
Okay. So were you kind of not, I think you were like, I'm not going to go at first.
Yeah, I think there's
like you kind of decided maybe, or maybe you just wanted to think, like maybe that's the way you thought about it. But I remember where like one chat and you were like, I can't really do this. So what's the,
Right. So I think there was a few things. I didn't
also,
know if it was
you know what? Go ahead and finish. I'll touch on it after.
I didn't know if it was possible, like I said, from the family and the business standpoint. And then I guess there was some mom guilt also, like leaving my kids and you for 2 weeks. And then also, I mean, I've been doing hair for a long time. I'm successful behind the chair. I know I do great hair, and I know at the level I've been educating, people receive me very well. I get very great feedback. But when you talk about going in at a higher level, you need a mindset. There's lots of things that come into play, and I wasn't sure if mentally I was there either.
And then, so how did you arrive at the process I guess, what was your process, or how did you arrive at I'm going, like, period?
So 2 things happened. I talked to you and said, really at the end of the day, would you support this? And, your thoughts, did you think it was a good idea?
Oh, that's a good idea.
As long as
what did I say?
You said you're going. And then I have a really great friend who's been battling cancer and rough times left and right, and somebody who I respect her opinion too. And I talked to her a little bit, and she was like, you're going. And if Todd supports you, like, you're an idiot for even thinking about this twice. So then I think, actually, no, I know. I came home that day after lunch with her, and I was like, if you support me, like you said, then I'm going to do this, because at the end of the day, it's an amazing opportunity. I was invited, which means they feel that I'm like worthy of being there. And whatever comes out of it is going to be amazing. I'm going to be like learning with the top people in the world. I'm going to be in Australia, and like only good things can happen. So fuck it. I'm going.
That's the mindset, right? Only good things can happen.
Yeah.
So I want to backpedal and touch on systems. So we have systems in place for lots of different things at our salon. Like, and when we say systems, none of it is common sense. It's written down somewhere. The staff can find it.
Yeah.
When you have that,
we have systems.
Yeah. So when you have that stuff in your business, that's all well and good. And this might not apply to like an independent person, but as a business owner with employees, when you have systems in place, like I just said, and I'm repeating myself, that's great. But have you ever tested them? Could you take a week? Right. Could you take a month out of your business? What problems would arise, and how would your staff handle them? Did they make it through? What do you need to fix? So that is pretty cool. And I guess we're kind of, so I was here, so I was able to touch base with the salon and be in there and whatever. So it wasn't like a huge deal, but it is different because you're the person that's on the floor in there day to day.
I'm who they see day to day.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say overall that it went extremely well. I think there's a few like little things to work out, but that's great. And I am sort of not disappointed, but I was looking for something big to fix. But I think our staff really did amazing. To be honest with you.
I was nervous, and I even think they were nervous. Like, and I was leaving, they were like to them, I'm like their mom. You know, they're like, my mom's leaving me. Like, but a lot of them, like when I'm in there, it almost offsets their confidence. So they're like, "Can I pick your brain?" But when I'm not there, they don't need to pick my brain. So I think 2 weeks of not having my brain to pick showed them like, wow, I'm really freaking good at doing hair. You know, so like. That was a great result. There was all great results. And even the few systems that like we need to step up, we kind of knew that. And this just showed that. But for overall, I was really nervous of having to come home. I have a really busy week coming up behind the chair to get my clients in because I am a stylist also. And I was afraid I'd have to be putting out all these fires with the staff or fixing all these things. And to my absolute delight, none of that had happened, and the staff kicked ass, was amazing, and everybody came together. We even hired someone like the week before I left, so it was like, this is really going to test this business because we're putting someone new in. I'm working with them for a few days before I go, and then kind of like, hey, everybody will just show you how to do it. And literally, that's exactly what happened. And they all leaned on you if they needed stuff. Like everything just. It was like a well-oiled machine. And you, as an owner, I mean, that's what you hope for. And prior, I had only been out of the salon at most maybe a week. So 2 weeks was crazy. And
a lot of those weeks that were out of the salon completely in the past, what we've done too. And just so people listening aren't like, well, you've done it before. We're either close by. Right. Or the salon is partially shut down. Like, say we go away July 4th and we close like a chunk of that week. Yeah. So we plan it where we're away really for like, maybe it's like 4 or 5 days tops, you know?
Right. Yes.
So anyways, systems. I'm proud of the staff too. I might as well just say it while I'm here. I hope I know some of them listen. So hopefully they can spread this to the people that don't listen to the podcast, and then maybe they should start listening. But I got to sit down and do some one-on-ones with the staff and chat with them without you there. Typically, we do that stuff together because that's just how we've done it. So I got to connect with a bunch of people, and I don't always get the chance to do that. Sometimes I don't see these guys because I'm in there like once or twice a week. So if schedules don't line up, I just might not see somebody until we have an activity, or like we had a photo shoot yesterday. So it was a good time. So let's go back to your leaving and what's going through your head and
my anxiety was through the roof. I was nauseous. I wanted to throw up. I was scared shitless. I was really sad to leave my family. I was afraid I was going to be so homesick. I was going to turn around and come home. And I had to get my shit together to show up and be the best educator I could be and take in and learn and be able to present all this material in front of a bunch of people I don't fucking know. So yeah, it's really, really awesome when I was leaving.
And so,
Which is why the day I was flying out, I went in and worked on some clients because in my world, to ease my anxiety, I do hair. So as a crazy
yeah,
lady, there I am in my salon doing some hair before I leave because that truly brings me calm and peace in my life.
I was stressed out because I was your ride. And while I love driving in and out of Boston, I was like, can we please get going? Why are you taking clients right now?
Yeah,
But
it's the only way I know how to function in life.
But I also get it. And I know I had to stop you. Even yesterday, we were in there and you started working. And I'm like, you're not here for that. You are not here for that.
I know.
It was like silly folding the laundry. I'm like, anybody else can do that. It's not a big deal. And our staff is great with that. So like, just let them, you know? So you travel and you get there. It's, I think, was 27 hours of transit
Something like
total
that,
time.
yeah.
And
It was a lot.
you're exhausted, I would imagine. But you said you pushed through that first day to sort of get your kind of clock adjusted a little bit.
Yeah, so my play there, I got lucky. My last flight, which was a real quick like hour from Melbourne, Australia to Adelaide, I ran into who I would say is a huge mentor to me and is a big part of where I am with Evo, Marie Kiefer, shout out. And it was the first face I had seen that actually like I was familiar with. So I think I hugged her and she was like, "Do you need a beer?" And I was like, "Sure."
That's awesome.
And then, we took that flight over to Adelaide, checked in the hotel, got some dinner that night. My goal was to stay awake. And then the next morning I had my alarm set for 5:30 to hit the gym and just start my day as I would here at home and really just keep my body like this is what we're doing. And it worked well because I just kind of went, which was awesome.
Yeah, that's funny. So coming from a gym background, I used to give advice to people and it's really amazing for your body to like recover, right? For example, so I would tell people when you go away on vacation, have vacation, but you weren't going away on vacation. So what you did was
No.
right. So what you did was choose to keep your body running like how it would run here. Not that on vacation you're not active, but it's different, right?
Yeah, very, very.
And would you recommend that for people? Like if somebody's traveling or doing something for work to
Absolutely.
keep that routine?
Like I brought bars in the morning. So I would do the gym, get back, shower, have my bar, take a walk, grab a coffee. My goal was every morning to at least step outside. So I wasn't just like hotel, headquarters for Evo, home, dinner, bed. I wanted to like kind of take in what I could. So then, the walk would help me do that. And I found a coffee place that I connected with people who every morning would be my friends in a sense. So I had that familiarity, however you say that word,
Sure.
in my life, which is something that's like I crave. So those people became that familiar face for me. But yeah, I really think it helped me adjust quickly. It helped my body adjust and helped me feeling as good as possible, as quickly as I could,
For sure. So take us through day one. You don't have to be super detailed, but I'm just, you get there. What's it like? What's your first impression?
Yeah.
That sort of, what did they do with you?
Our first day we got to tour headquarters, which was really cool. So
do they manufacture there? Is that where they're manufacturing it?
It's where they come up with everything. And then most of their stuff is manufactured in Italy, actually.
Okay.
So, but this is like where they're coming up with formulas, they're testing it, they're trying things out and all that before it is sent out. So this is their hub of creativity where everything is pretty much at least in the development stage. So we got to see that, which was really cool. We got to meet all of the people that are behind the scenes that run Evo's headquarters, from social media to the owner of the company, the founder. Like, that's really neat. You don't get to do that often. And then kind of sit in this area where is going to be our classroom for the next, for me, it was 9 days of learning and presenting. And even that, so they tried to make it fun. So it's not just classroom. They had a ping pong table with like a fun tournament just to keep you moving. They did have an outside area for us to eat lunch. If it wasn't too hot, we could go outside.
They had one of the hottest days on record while you were there, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
Or something. I think it hit 125 there. Not where you were, but
I think where we were was like 107. But yeah, it was pretty hot.
Yeah,
and then they had it was really cool. They had a stage. So when we were learning from the educational team, the creative team teaching us, they were on stage. When we presented, we were on stage, which just gave it a more elevated experience.
Sure.
And then we had rooms that we would break off into to do our hands-on portion, which was every day. You're always doing something hands-on on mannequins.
Really
and the
cool.
beginning of the training was fundamental. So Evo is now putting out a fundamental haircutting, fundamental styling, a fundamental coloring. So that will kind of just go out and live for a while, whereas salons can just learn kind of back to basics type things, but with a creative flair. And then the second part of education.
What does fundamental mean to Evo?
It gives you, like, I'll say a baseline for them to do. So for educators, they have a baseline now. If we're in a class and we're applying color, how they want all of us to apply color. So we all, even though we're all over the world, we're doing the same technique, or it's looking the same to who's ever seeing us present it. Our verbiage may be a little different. Obviously, everyone has their own twist and their own flair, but this way, the practical part of it is being delivered the exact same all over the world, which they didn't have, like a fundamental, how do you do it, a retouch or a toning or something like that, where now we all will be doing that or presenting that and it will all look the same.
Gotcha.
It gave you like a basic highlight and how that should look and how it should be timeless and live in the coloring world for as long as it needs to. Some haircuts, like just to help younger people or to take a stylist that may have been doing cutting for so long, they kind of aren't so mindful in their approach. So let's think about these things and how can we elevate that game? So really cool to not go into some creative haircuts that just are for fun and take basic stuff, but make it super fun and engaging.
Cool. So you're there.
Yes.
At some point, I'm sure your excitement or anxiety, however you want to describe it, yeah, I'm sure that creeps in every day, right? Because you're being challenged and doing new things. But eventually, I imagine you settle in, and get into like a little bit of a rhythm as much as you can. And tell us what that's like at that point. And when did you notice when it happened? Sometimes I notice when I've done stuff in the past or I've taken trips in the past where it's like I remember on the second day when I was like, all right, cool, and you.
So I think it was interesting because I got through day one and I think that was like a breather, like, whoa, okay, I've met a good amount of people because not everyone came in at the same time. Not everybody teaches everything. Some people were coming in just for cutting and some people would be leaving when some of styling and cutting started. But majority of us, day one, were there. So getting through the logistics of just meeting most of the people, seeing the agenda, I had seen it, but really like living the first day of it. It was interesting the end of that day because I think there was relief and like excitement, like, oh, this is going to be really fun. I was loving the content too. The content they were putting out really resonated with me. So that really helped my anxiety kind of like chill out. But then there was this other side of me was like, I have 8 more days of this, like 8 full days of training and presenting. And wow, like, so it took until.
And then a couple days of traveling to get home.
Yeah. So it's like you're there, but you're always elevated because you need to bring your best game. Like this is what they're looking for. So after day one, definitely chilled and was like, okay, this is cool. But still there was just like more of a heightened awareness of like, all right, I'm going to be at that gym every morning. I'm going to make sure I'm eating my breakfast every morning. I'm going to make sure that what I did today becomes my routine for this trip so that I can show up my best self every day.
Cool. So give us some highlights. What were some of the takeaways? You said you were excited for the content. What stands out? Or you can kind of just talk or whatever.
Just the fact that they even had they were putting out a fundamental course. I think that
is really cool, actually.
Yeah, it was, and that they did it in a way that wasn't boring. They did it in a way that it could reach anyone and everyone. And it's like I'm looking forward to getting that information out there. Like it definitely is something that I will be very happy as the requests come in to teach it, which I have a bunch. I'm booked through April right now. So I will be busy doing all of that content, which is super cool.
I had a question that I was going to wait a little bit to ask, but it just kind of fits now. So the majority of what you learned is advanced, I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask you, how do you distill that down? Because so the majority, like anybody that listens knows that we have a young staff. they're probably not ready for advanced techniques and advanced stuff.
So this is where this fundamental course is killer, because the creative stuff might be
is that distilled down.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to, the reason I wanted to ask you that is because I've gotten compliments from classes that you've taught because you're able to break down the material and present it in a way that people can take steps on. They can take it and use it. I didn't say it. Other people said it to me.
Thanks for telling me.
No, but like I've had the owners of companies compliment me or compliment you to me.
Yeah.
And it's always about your style and your presence. You are very engaging, so you will not let a group of people just sit there and stare at you, which sometimes people just want it about them, educators out there. So it gets kind of weird.
So I think my style comes from, honestly, at this point, being in the industry for so long and also being a mom and being really busy, that I don't want to be in a class that I feel like is a time suck and I'm not learning anything or I'm not feeling a little bit excited and inspired. Like, it should be fun, because when I'm behind the chair, I'm so busy. So somehow I want to always resonate with those people that like to chill out and have fun and take in the information, but like take it in and like, I'm going to repeat myself, but have fun with it, you know? So that's kind of where that comes from. And I think, interestingly, because the second part of my training was all creative. So here's the creative stuff that's coming out for this year, because that creative content will live year to year. It'll always change. It's always evolving because it's creative. So the challenge for me learning that, and this was interesting, this is where my mindset really switched. It's all cool stuff, but when you look at some of the collection, I could picture going into a salon and they're like, I'm never going to do that haircut on anybody. No one's ever going to ask me for that hair color. So while I was learning that collection was really how am I going to present this in a way that a stylist will sit in a class and see that collection and I can immediately, because it would have to be from like the first few minutes, get them to change their mindset. You're here for creative learning. Don't just look at this and say, I'm not going to do it on a client. I want you to take the techniques, the stuff I'm showing you, and how can you put that into your toolkit when you go back? And so that was kind of fun for me. And it was a different approach for me going in. Last year when I was learning creative, it was my first year learning creative. And I think I was just like, what am I even doing? Where this year it was like, okay, I've taught so much of this. How can I bring this back? And how can I, kind of what you're saying, like put my style on it? So when I'm in that salon, I'm like, you know, you may not do this exact haircut, but you may learn different ways to pull the hair or approach the color because of this creative content. And that will be the part that, even if they're a young staff or a more evolved staff, that you can truly reach them. And that will be fun for that part of that too.
Very cool. I like it.
Yeah. And so I guess my highlights, as much as I learned a ton and I cannot wait to kind of keep processing it and figure out what kind of part of the collections that'll resonate the most with me, because usually I get requests and I'm able to kind of drive that bus into when they tell me what they need, which haircuts might be the ones I want to teach, or which color content might be what is the most fun for me to teach. But my 2 days off, and one became optional that I decided I really needed, was going to the wildlife park and feeding the kangaroos and the wallabies and the ducks and the whatever else was there. It was just really cool seeing the
koalabees.
Yeah, the koalabees, as our 5-year-old does call them. Swimming in the ocean that afternoon and jumping off a pier, which just was like, my goal was to also have fun on this trip. So that kind of did all that for me. And then the next day they treated us to a winery. And then just taking in the culture and being around people from all over the country that I just met and trying to just get to know them, talk business, ask them what they're doing and what's working for them, or maybe kind of picking their brain a little bit on like little things that like we have talked about, maybe like working on our business, like, hey, how do you do this for your business? Or what does this look like for you? And really utilizing the people there to talk to, rather than looking on Instagram or, you know, talking to other people that like may not be at that level. So that was super fun to kind of take that part in as a bonus from the trip and why I was there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What else? So what can we expect next?
Oof.
So you said you're booked through April? now or
I
whatever?
am booking into April right now. I just
And
booked
so
my first one. So
what are you
my
teaching?
goal right now, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, like, what are you teaching from, like, is this stuff that's like, you can teach it now, people can request it, or is it something you have to
Yes.
develop and then, okay, so you're all set, you're teaching it.
I'll wait for a feedback, but everything should be good to go.
Okay. And so when you get requests, I know how it works, but for people listening, when you get education requests, are people requesting this new stuff that you've just been through, or do they even, how would a salon even know to ask you about that?
The distributor got all of this content back in September. So the distributor then relays all of this content to their reps that are out in the workspace with the salons. So they are familiar-ish with it. But this is where it really comes back for me to kind of come in, and I get the request and I reach out to the salons, see where they're at, and then we'll have a quick convo. Some might need new context. Some might need newer content. Some may not. I have a salon that reached out right before I left and was like, hey, heard you're going to Australia. When you come back, can I be one of your first salons you see? And whatever's new and you can show me, I want it. So that was just super cool. Some is still as Huverse, which is their color line is growing. Some is just back to the basics of getting them in and talking to them about Huverse. But then I can take some of that Huverse presentation, and when we do models, talk about some new stuff with techniques on, just for them thinking about how they apply color and that kind of thing. So that's how I can bring in the new content and kind of bring it in with the old content and
cool.
like marry it together.
I don't know.
At least that's what I'll be doing.
That's cool.
That's the cool thing with Evo. They let us kind of have our flair. So I'll use everything how they want me to present it. I'll use how they want it to look on stage, putting it on, but then I can marry it together in a way that
it'll be Jen showing up.
Yeah. And some of them might not even know until I get there, like, we're going to talk about some new content, and they'll be so excited knowing that. They're just excited for me to be back in their salon and just teaching them whatever I can.
So I wanted people to know, if they're listening, how to go about, maybe not even you, maybe they don't use Evo and they don't care, but you should be able to go to your distributor, your reps, and they should have, like, I know the distributor we work with, Sullivan, I have access to their educational content or calendar, not content, but their calendar, like, at least 2 or 3 months out. So
if you're in our region, which is what, Northeast America, I guess you'd call it.
I would call it New England, like everyone else calls it.
Oh my God, sorry.
Northeast America works.
I'm still struggling to get my head right from this trip back. It was long. Anyway,
we're in Northeast America.
Yeah, you could reach out to Sullivan Beauty, and if you're interested in Evo products or Evo Huverse color, hit them up and they'll put you in the right direction.
Yeah, of course. But I'm talking about, say somebody uses a different distributor, is this a process that they go through too? I'm trying to help people out here.
They would probably have to find out in their area who distributes Evo, or go on Evo's site.
I'm not talking about Evo though.
Oh.
I'm talking about other distributors. So, like, say somebody doesn't use the same distributor we're using, and they're like, I wonder if I could get classes in here. I wonder if there's any educators for whatever, Sally's shampoo.
I would go to your rep first.
Go to your rep, and they should be able to set you up with somebody. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like, I know the answers, but I'm trying to pull it out of you for people listening that might be like, I have a salon. I want to bring someone in for my staff. I don't know how. Reach out to your distributor.
Reach out to your distributor. But if you want a really cool educator, reach out to Sullivan Beauty, because I can do that.
Yeah. Or just reach out to you.
Or just reach out to me and I'll figure it out. That's probably the best way.
I haven't asked you this yet, and I don't know if you can even say it on a podcast, but is there any, like, cool stuff coming?
Oh, yes. So this year, there's some cool stuff coming. They are.
I'm referring to product. I didn't even. I wasn't even clear.
I know what you meant.
Okay.
I got you. So that was really cool. Circling back, we had what's called like a brand development day. So this is really neat. They let us know what's most likely launching unless there's a hiccup, right? So what should be coming out in Q1, Q2, Q3 for this year. But when you're in the middle of development, depending on what stage they're at, that can change. But also, then we sat down with literally the founder, Brad, who owns the company currently, and he wanted to hear kind of what walls we were hitting while we're out there teaching, or what holes we see in the line, or what do we want to see, or what's important to us about the culture. I mean, you're sitting there, there's 25 of us-ish, and he's literally for, I think, 3 or 4 hours, like, just asking us questions or getting our feedback. Like, that was really, really cool. And most of us have a lot to say because we've been doing it for a while, like, hey, this wasn't working or this is working. But anyway, back to your question. I digress. So for Evo, they are launching, I don't remember how many, but I'll say maybe up to 10 shades in their demi-line. And they are coming out with 3 new Staino colors, which is their direct dye, high pigmented line, which is very exciting. They're also in, I think, the development where they've found what they're doing, but now it's being like actually put in a bottle with their packaging for growing their scalp care. So like a scalp treatment and some sort of a scalp exfoliant for the scalp. So really
Nice.
kind of helping.
I need that.
Really cool.
I use that on my clients.
Those should all come out this year. And then their goal was, and this is really neat. So I think Evo retail was like developed in 2005, and they have some products that have been like their flagship, like shampoos and conditioners. So where they're in so much development of things coming out today, like Huverse and Demi, and pushing Staino further, their next really concentration comes on making sure some of their flagship retail products are also being elevated and coming up into 2023. So however they produce them in 2005, not just leaving them in that technology and soaring them into 2023. And how do we make those products even better? So kind of
we're past 2023.
2024. Oh my God, I don't even know where I am.
I know.
So not like, oh, we need more products. We need
you're
more stuff. No.
You're out of date.
Yeah, I am. But what's cool with this company is I feel like most companies just like, we just need new stuff. And some stuff they did need new. But like with their shampoos and conditioners, they're amazing things. They're just like, how can we make them so that they're the best they can be,
So are you talking about reformulation?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And what about, I really dig the aesthetic. And anybody that knows so anybody that knows me knows I like simple, and Evo is about as simple, clean packaging as you can get.
Yeah.
The other thing I like too is that they don't really take themselves all that seriously. They do serious work, but it's like outside of that, why does everything have to be? A lot of brands to me are either, I'm just going to be blunt and say it because it's my fucking podcast, but a lot of brands to me come across as either stuffy, and they're like, we're exclusive. You can't get this. And I'm like, why? Yeah. What are you doing then? Why would you tell people you can't get it? Or they come across as straight cheese, just cheesy, corny.
One of their core values is playfulness. Literally, that's a core value for them. So definitely,
cool.
They're there to have fun too.
All right. So what else on the product front? Anything else? I feel like I might have cut you off.
The other part, which is cool. I don't know if anybody cares, but I care. So the pucks, like all their styling clays and stuff, they're in this like square container, and they're all going to move into a round container, which it will require less like packaging and stuff. So it's better for the environment because they're not wasting so much packaging. That's pretty much, I think, aesthetically that all the pucks look.
That is interesting because they are round, but then they have like the tabs on the top and bottom to make them appear. So
now they'll all come
square.
out and be round.
Gotcha.
So aesthetically, and they had released Shag, which is one of their pucks. It's like a dry paste type thing last year, I think. And that isn't a round puck because they knew that was in development to get all of them moving into round pucks, which will start coming out in 2024. Oh, and actually, this is really cool. I just remembered this. Holiday this year, at the end of the year, they are going to release a limited candle, and it smells amazing. So that'll be kind of fun too.
Cool. So candles.
Fun fact.
Candles. What else? I guess what else? That's a lot of stuff. So
that's a lot.
You made some friends. You got to hang out with the owner of the company. You got to hang out with koalas and kangaroos and all that touristy stuff. You jumped off a bridge. Or a pier. Was it a bridge?
A pier.
I saw the video. Somebody was like, Jen jumped off a bridge. And I was like, she did?
You probably couldn't watch it. It might make you nauseous. Aren't you afraid of heights?
I don't like heights, but that wasn't high. I mean, I don't want to jump off of that, but that wasn't the type of that's not the type of heights.
It was so fun.
Scare me.
Yeah, it was really fun.
And then what's it like? You're coming to the end of your trip. How are you feeling? I know, but for people like...
Yeah, it was interesting. The days off, as much as they were amazing, I was the most homesick on those days off. And I it's because I know why. When I was at the wildlife park, as beautiful and as like just so exciting as it was, it's something I would have wanted to do with my family. And that made me miss you guys so much. Like it was a lot because it just was like, oh my God, everybody would have loved this. Same thing on the winery the next day. Like I would have loved to have been with you doing it. And so those days were great, but then like it was a little bit like I was sad. It was just homesick was definitely there.
I get it.
And then coming out of it, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we did some stuff here. I did some stuff with the kids. And I was like, I wish Jen was doing this with us. You know, it's just how your brain works. And I was telling somebody, I don't think we've been apart for that long of time.
No, I don't think so.
20 years, maybe.
Yeah.
So
that's nuts.
It's interesting when you have I mean, we have a family now, but even before that, you were like, this is so cheesy to say for me, but you were like my person. You were just always who was there, you know? Even when we were just dating.
This was
like
really tricky because I'm sleeping when you're up. So like, even I know some stuff had come up, like just organization things with the school or just things changing. And like, you can't call me because I'm asleep. And then I'm waking up and my day's starting. So like the logistics of that was another kind of hurdle for us to figure out kind of how to navigate.
And for anybody still listening, this was supposed to be a quick show, but you had so much information. And for anybody still listening, we did fine. I had people reaching out like, how are you doing? Are you all right? I'm like, I'm all right. Yeah.
Everyone was doing great.
An adult.
Awesome. And it was cool because when I did get to talk to the kids, I could tell like they were crushing it with you. And like, we all missed each other, but yet like we were just looking forward to see each other and it was good.
Yeah.
And so I guess, coming out of those 2 days off, like my downtime, but then I went into the next week, it was Monday and I'm like, I have 3 days left and now I head home. So my mind was able to kind of wrap around that. And I'm like, wow, I'm at the end of this. And cutting kind of takes the most draining for me to really like wrap my mind around. I teach it a lot in our salon, but not at the level of where I taught it last year. So I have to kind of pay attention a little bit more. It just hasn't come as easy for me to teach, I guess. And I knew that. So coming out of those days, chilling out, I knew I had to be ready to go Monday to like show up and be my really best self, like to be able to take it all in and present it all. And it was great. It went awesome.
And then what's it like coming down from that and coming home? So actually you can share your travel story because it was, or before that you can, we're running a little long, but that's okay. Go.
Yeah, it was, I just wanted to get home. I was in a get home mindset.
Yeah.
And I knew what the travel was looking like coming home because I had just done it. The hardest part was, and we flew from Adelaide to Melbourne, which is like an hour flight. We get on our flight for Melbourne, which is now going to be a 15-hour flight. And all of the things were going wrong, like just a bunch of stuff. So 3 hours we're sitting on this plane in the tarmac. And I think an hour and a half in, I was texting Todd, like, I'm going to cry. I'm going to lose it. This isn't looking good. I don't think I'm making it home. And if I didn't get on that flight or it didn't take off,
I live here now. I'm Australian.
Yeah. Well,
I get it. I've been on planes sitting on runways for hours in the past.
And we're getting to the point where if it doesn't work, they had one last thing. Now that the flight attendants are timing out, I had a travel buddy going back. So shout out Sam Kane because she kept me in that moment. She was like, we're going to make a plan. We're going to get our minds together. We're going to pretend, we're going to look like we're not, we're going to basically plan that we're getting off this plane. You're not going.
I think I lost you. You're not there.
I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm here.
All right.
Do you want me to just
So you were, we had a little recording hiccup, I guess. I don't know.
Glitch.
Yeah, glitch. You just dropped out of the recording for no reason. So you were saying, luckily you had a travel buddy. I'll try to just edit it as close as I can.
She just kept me in my mindset of like where I was stressing and just helped me like switch it around and focus to like best case scenario, worst case scenario. And it all worked out because the flight was able to take off. We missed all our connecting flights, but with technology, you can literally rebook your next flight while you're in the air. So we knew when we touched down in LA that we were going to still get home that same night. And it was going to be a lot later, but we were getting home and we made it,
awesome.
Which was amazing. But coming home, it has been a rough couple days just getting myself together. But by today,
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
traveling like that is tough on the
Yeah.
body. And regardless of where you go, you can travel at all, like go
Yeah.
away from all the comforts of your home for any amount of
Yeah.
time, and you'll realize real quick that you would never make it in the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah. That's fine.
Any final thoughts on your trip, education, where you think things are going, where you know they are going? Anything?
I think it's just,
you've got a smile there, so.
I think if there's opportunities that come your way, and it's easy to say no because you're scared or you don't want to feel like you don't know anything, or you don't want to feel like you're the newbie on the block. An opportunity is there for a reason, and you should always take it and see where it brings you next. This was not easy for me to say yes to, as we talked about, but it was so amazing, and I feel so lucky to have had it. As for trending, I think with this fundamental course that's being released, I really feel you're going to see, not just with Evo, but across the board the next year or so, of people getting kind of back to basics and fundamental cutting and coloring. Because for so long, I think it's been all this just like, do whatever you want. It's going to look great and you'll just make it look awesome. And rather than just like on a wish and a prayer, hoping everything comes out good, mindfully, what's your approach to the cut and the color you're doing, and have like a beginning, middle, end, so you're not freaking out while your client's processing, so you're not having a panic attack in the middle of the haircut. Like, learn how to map those things out, and the outcome will be way better. And this fundamental course will do that, but I think you're going to see a lot of that trending.
Awesome. All right, cool. Thanks for sharing all that stuff. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye.